Hello everyone and welcome back. This is the back nine of round one of the 2021 North Umpqua Invitational. Thank you to FlightTel, Upper Park Disc Golf, and Resistance Discs for sponsoring this coverage. I'm Scott Withers here with Mr. Resistance Discs, Jeff Korns.
What is up, Scott? How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. It's exciting to get to go back and watch this. It had been a while, so I actually forgot about half of the stuff. I had no clue that I hit the basket on 17 down the hill. I did not remember that. So let's jump straight into our back nine. This is hole 19, 400 feet. It has got a little windy out at this point, but this is 400 feet, and the circle of rocks is basically like the edge of the circle around it. It's a great addition to the course a few years ago by the Parks Department, and another professional level par 3.
Yeah, you talked about it a little bit in the middle nine, and if you didn't catch it already, go back and check out the middle nine. You might not be used to seeing that, but we have a 27-hole layout. And as you said, we're out of the short holes. There is some length to be had down the stretch here, and this is one of them, pro-level par 3 again.
Yeah, if you have the power to go hyzer outside of the tree, which sits probably 60 or 70 feet short of the basket, you do that. If you don't quite have that 400-foot hyzer power, even Chris is trying to go inside of the tree, but it is a little windy. You can see that one get dropped. You kind of throw this anhyzer and just hope you get there. A great crawl up the rocks by Chris's disc there.
Yeah, that got a nice little scoot. Lewis coming up with a little bit short on the roller. Just got to get up and down, and you should have no problem with that.
Yeah, I hate this upshot if you don't put it close. It's so exposed, and you feel like you should just give it a run from anywhere because it's flat putting, but I don't know. This is really windy up here usually.
It's tough too because, as you said, it's flat, it's open. There's not a lot of reference points out here on this green on where you got to put the disc.
You got to spin it.
No. It's something that I've talked about on podcasts and stuff before. When we play in the Pacific Northwest, as we see a slow-mo replay of a 30, 35-footer, we don't play a lot of wide open greens. You usually have trees, you usually have backdrops. I know it's something that Chris and I have talked about quite a bit is we are both way better woods putters than we are open field putters just because of the style of courses that we play around here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's completely different being in the woods being protected, like having everything around you to use as reference versus being on a hole like this where there's one tree within 90 feet of the basket. It's those one trees that you have to make it around, and those are really the only trees on the hole. There's nothing else out there. So
easy threes, let's go.
And I don't know how much audio you'll be able to hear as you're watching this, but we have a countdown going for Kenny right now because he has completed a full round of pars. He is through 19 holes as 18 pars and a birdie, and you can see where we're all at through 19. Some decent scores and everything, but even Kenny was joking about it at this point.
Yeah, keeping it clean.
Hole 20, 335 feet downhill into the wind. I'm throwing an ESP Malta.
That looked good.
It looked good. We're going to find out in just a second how good. Chris is stepping up with a buzz that I now have in my bag. Thank you, Chris. The key on this hole really is to keeping it farther right than you think you need to. It does fall straight downhill, but if you get tucked into the trees on the left at all, you're not going to have a putt. You would rather be 35 right than you would 10 feet left.
Yeah, Lewis is trying to put a bit of a move on it.
Yeah, this tail
not quite enough. But this is one as well with that slope off behind the basket. Distance control is important.
I got it.
This happens a lot, what Kenny just did, and it really doesn't get you much of a putt. Uh-oh.
Oh.
We knew it was in, not because we heard it, but because we heard the other card on 21's tee pad.
Yeah, we didn't have two cameras on that one.
Kind of explode.
I thought it was good. Chris was like, oh, it's got to sit. I was like, I think it's pretty good. Obviously, it's real good, and obviously it did need to sit.
Well said there.
Yeah,
it was really good.
Yeah, it did need to sit, hit in the basket. It did hop in the basket. We got clarification from another group that was down on 27's fairway that it was not clean in the air, so it did hit just short and hop up into the basket. But that's my first on-camera ace probably during a tournament, even though we couldn't see it all the way.
Always an exciting thing.
The other guys are exactly what we were talking about from the tee. You don't want to be left. It's not miserable under here, but it is a very impeded putt.
Nice putt by
Chris.
Chris.
Powers through the branch. You can still see it swinging there. Definitely a little foliage coming out, but he makes it. Lewis a little more open. 25-footer that just didn't go in.
Yeah, a little bit of a pull on that putt.
Yeah, good stroke by Kenny to save par. It looks like the nerves are fully gone at this point for him. Early in the front nine, he was maybe a little nervous, but that putt was a lot more confident.
I mean, at this point, Kenny knows he can't bogey. He just got to stroke the putt, and he's got it rolling now.
12 down through 19. Like, that's hot. That's what you're looking for. Yeah, I believe that the course record is still 14 for the 27-hole layout, and I did that a couple years ago in round 1 of NUI, but we move into 21, which is one of 2 like real bomber holes we've got left. And I'm going ESP nuke again. This is a great nuke, and that is as good as it gets, I think. We'll see when we get up there.
Yeah, I'm going to go on the limb and say that that's where you want to end up at. Just under 500 feet. Not a lot of danger. Like, we got some trees up by the basket, but, you know, they don't really guard the green. You just got to fly one down this fairway.
Yeah, it's 495, and if you can put it in the air, it plays pretty true to like 500 or maybe 515. But it does have to have the height, because you saw Chris's kind of get slammed out of the sky. Kenny just too low, and then Lewis, not like 500-foot air shots are not what he's known for. Like we talked about in the front nine video, he's so good at the woods control shot, and his form just doesn't quite line up to being able to crush it, maybe all the way to this basket. But putting in play, there's no shame in a 3 on this one either.
No, and this is a hole where, like you said, there's not a lot of danger. Like, you know, bad approaches, maybe a 3-putt puts you in Bogeyville, but you know, you're not going to see a ton of birdies either at this kind of length.
No, not at all. There was 2, and it's not going to surprise you who the 2 birdies were on this hole.
Yeah, if Kenny's here, you got to be closer. Oh no!
Well, Lewis is there.
That must mean yours is better than that.
Oh,
Lewis, no.
A little breezy. You can see the sign floating around, but he had lost confidence in his putting at this point, and it's hard to get back. We all deal with it from time to time, and once you have 1 or 2 that don't go your way in a round, it's hard to mentally kind of stay engaged in that putting. It's why it's so important to have a routine.
Absolutely. And there's one of your 2 birdies. The other one, the young gun, the distance thrower, Cordone.
Yeah, the 600-foot kid.
Yeah, he rips. So
not surprising at all. Not surprising at all that he's throwing probably a pure hyzer to this, or that him and I are the 2 to be able to pick this one up. I love birdieing this hole. Maybe it happens like once every 6 or 7 tries, but it's a bonus one for sure, as you see 2 other bogeys on the hole.
Yeah. This one averaged .23 over par, one of the harder holes of the round. You know, you just got to get up and down if you don't get it inside the circle or inside circle 2, and some of them missed out on doing that.
Totally different style of hole now. You go from, oh god, that's not good. You go from 500 feet open to 280 feet of pretty open. You just want to hit the forehand line and let it go into the hill 10 or 15 or 20 feet right of the basket. And that's how you get birdies on this hole. Chris, pretty textbook. You don't necessarily want to land right next to the basket. Kind of upright is your aim point.
Kenny's got this one kind of dialed. I thought I heard something weird. Maybe got some weird reaction off of something.
Yeah, I might have got the log just short. This shot, and it's a Lewis thing, right? We talked about his strengths and everything. That's such a hard backhand turnover to get to sit, and that was done real well.
Yeah, again, elevation not shown well on camera. It doesn't capture easy. This one's downhill, so if you cruise by this basket, you can easily fly it into the road out of bounds. And you might be left with a 45-footer or so coming back at it, maybe longer.
Kenny got the log, so that's like the not really a putt zone. This is where good forehands end up. It seems like you always do have to make a putt on this, though.
Yeah, there's enough guardian objects on this green. Things get tricky, and Chris converts a nice one there.
Yeah, edge of the circle, tree in the way, he's got to go low. He has that real direct snap style putt that doesn't have to go up and down, so it suits him pretty well for a putt like that.
Yeah, that's a good one too from the straddle. Lewis trying to calm the nerves on the putting green. Let's see what he's got here.
You can just kind of tell before he's throwing it right now that the confidence isn't quite there. He's got some twitches going on before, and anytime you're trying to just will the putter into the basket, it doesn't usually work out.
Good putt, Chris. Thanks.
We are through 22 out of 27 holes, and it's a course that we're all tired now. We got a couple more birdie holes coming up, but there's a grind to get through this. So we're going to kick it off to a sponsor real quick, and then we'll come back and check out our last 5 holes. Right into hole 23. Another technical hole, 250. One of the scariest greens that you're ever going to play.
Yeah, this basket is perched on the edge.
Wind helped it a bit.
And again, like we said, cliffs, elevation, speed control, critical. You're trying to take that all out of the equation. Looks like you're going Z-flex machete.
It bounced. We'll see where it ended up. If you don't park this hole, your only goal is to go over the cliff. And I know it sounds weird, but you would so much rather be down below getting to pitch up than you would be like 40 feet short on this hole and having to make a decision.
Yeah, the layup is scary. Airing it past the basket, it's like what, 8 or 9 foot drop or something. So if you air it, like you're flying it, it's going past the basket. You probably aren't going to be in the circle.
Yeah, but you can. See, Kenny just close enough to be able to do that. You can end up. So Lewis is in the circle here, but is probably 15 feet below the basket.
Yeah, good reaction too on the ground. That just hit the cage and dropped.
Yep.
Little weak side.
Yeah, uphill like that. And Chris, how you stay here, I will never understand.
Barely has the footing to stand there in.
Kind of dangerous to even putt from there.
It's sketchy. If you off balance, you can't fall backwards.
Don't lean back. That's one where if you lean forward a little early, I bet you your group never calls a foot fault on it from that distance. I would rather see you just.
I'm glad you didn't die.
Yeah, 100%. Great 2 by Chris. I know it's only 250 feet, but it doesn't get birdied a ton, and it does get bogeyed plenty. So You got stats up. Did that hole average under par or over par?
Bad short little hole, average over par, plus 1.8. Chris, DJ Harrington, Kyle Baker, Ricky Pina, Taylor Coulomb, Zach Chris picking up the birdies.
Yeah, but I mean, it averaged almost 0.2 of a stroke over par in the MPO only field for a reason. Hole 24, 300 feet, stock forehand hyzer, except for the fact that the wind's blowing like 20 miles an hour left to right at this point. It does help carry stuff to it, but this green is so fast.
Yeah, and you got to factor in at this point, too. Some exhaustion is coming into play at this point in your round because you guys teed off, you said around 10 o'clock in the morning. It's got to be, now, 1:30, 2:30, like maybe later?
Yeah, I think these are generally about 4.5 hour rounds.
Yeah, like this is an absolute grind.
Up and down. It's not like this course has any flat spots. You're walking up a giant hill multiple times, and then you can even see, like, over this basket and where Chris ended up here going down the hill, you're never walking up and down flat hills. So this is very physically demanding of a course.
Yeah, and look at that CTP flag. The wind is ripping now.
Oh, it's a bad putt. You got to have that one, especially when you stick it up top on the hill. And I'm still kind of thinking like 14 unders course record. I knew I was playing well. I just parred 2 short holes in a row, but I knew it was still within reach. That's not one that you want to let go when you stick it up top there.
Yeah, no. Hole 24 average, 0.2 under par. You'd like to get the birdie. It's not the worst if you par it, but a good chunk of the field's getting it.
Yeah, you get a lot of people birdieing it. You also don't have a lot of 4s on it because I feel like bad drives just go down the hill and you pitch up and take your 3. The only way to really 4 it is if you go for a putt that you shouldn't and roll down the hill, or if you hit an early tree. So, hole 25. The county decided to put a giant wood pile right in the middle of this hole. So we have a casual relief area, which I don't know if I've ever done on a course before, but because of where it is, and it's just like complete garbage wood from trees that went down and stuff, we did spray that whole area and just put some flags out and let you play as a casual relief point for it. I got a waiver from the PDGA. But this is a full, like, distance driver, get it to go right. Hopefully it finishes pretty straight. This one should be inside the circle.
Circle, maybe 40.
Yeah, that's down there. Again, another one of those pro-level par 3s that we talked about, over 400 feet. These are good pumps coming from the players. Like, you got to have a little bit of serious distance to get this into the putting green.
And what you couldn't see and still can't see on video is just right of this, and now you can kind of see it, is the river. So if you try to throw a big shot and turn it over, you are going swimming. Well, your disc is going swimming. You still have to wait 2 more holes to go swimming. But it comes with a penalty stroke that you don't want this late in the round.
I don't blame him not.
Nope. And like you said, should be good inside the circle.
Hey.
Nice wobble on there.
Not great. I'm telling you, my legs are tired at this point. Like, you're not spinning the putter, and all of us have been struggling a little bit on the putting greens, on a tough putting course anyway. But it's hard to continue pushing off with your legs and spinning the putter after this much of a round. You're basically just like, how do I get through these last few holes? What's for lunch? You know, how do I get some water or some Gatorade or something in me and be able to... Oh.
Wow.
That's the second time I've seen Chris Nelson watch a short spit out from inside of 7 feet. Sorry to bring back some bad memories for you, but Lewis is not going to want to relive that one.
Ouch. That's brutal. You don't see that too often on these baskets. That's a tough way to take a bogey.
Yeah, especially since Lewis has just been struggling on the putting green. You know, coming up there, maybe a little too firm. Got the pole, came back.
Yep. Another good pro-level par 3 in my mind. That was a terrible shot.
So close to being so close to being out of bounds.
There is this low forehand line that is the pure line to get there, or there's like a high backhand hyzer to the right for the right-handed player that has to fall down and get a little lucky at the end. I love this hole. I think it's great. I'm not necessarily super good at it. I just think it was a great design.
Yeah, I like it because it's got enough forehand distance that it requires you to, have that shot in your arsenal. The backhand, a little, I'm not going to call it fluky by any means, but it's not as true and pure of a line. It is there, but if you have the option, go with the forehand.
We just threw 4 bad drives. We're all going to have to scramble a little bit, and I hit the earliest, so I'll be throwing first from a knee with a Crystal Raptor, so it looks good. Nestle up.
Stay there.
Not nestle up.
Come on.
I feel like the Huck Lab die on that thing just sticks daggers in my heart to watch this on replay so slowly just go down the hill.
And that checked up at the maximum distance it could basically roll while still being safe. You almost made it to the road for the second time in this hole.
You don't want to be up here. Like, this, Chris gets through, still has to make a little bit of a putt. That's so bad and hard up in this area. You can see where Lewis is here, even worse. Bang!
Right. That's a nice bounce back after the last one.
Hey, Jared, I missed the 10-footer right back at me the last hole. Yeah, it's back for 1 under.
I believe Jared Gogol and James Moore are both on the card behind us, as you can hear them yelling. That's a top 5 shot of this round and absolutely deserves a replay. Just floating. And
Lewis is stoked. He picked up 6 strokes on the last 2 holes. Not the way he hoped he did it, but he'll walk away with it.
Right. Kenny into the cage. I've got 30 feet-ish to save par after that rollout. These putts are always... Oh,
yeah, that's a rough one.
Yeah, I didn't feel like that putt was that bad, and it didn't even try to stay in, and you can see a little frustration. I think the frustration more came from the rollout to have to make that 30-footer than it did the putt. Yeah,
Yeah, it's you're in a spot on that hole where you just want to get up and down, and there's not a lot of elevation or slope on this green. So getting that roll, it's frustrating, especially this late in the round. You're sitting there with course record potentially in mind, and to pick up a bogey on the 26th hole, it's not fun.
No, Kenny and I both do. Lewis with a sick drop in for 2, and then we get to 27, last hole of the round, 500 feet on the dot. I feel like it might even play a little more than that. This tall grass isn't doing us any favors with the camera view, but this is a crush to get it in the tree lines and even have a putt.
Yeah, this has got to be one of the harder holes on the course because the distance plays a huge factor, but these trees on this hole, more than the other 500-footer across the field, definitely play more of a factor as a guardian on the green.
Yeah, this hole played almost 4/10 of a stroke over par, and it's just because you're throwing a drive as hard as you can. You can see the grass moving. It's windy out in this field, and if you end up I guess the left side over where I'm at's not terrible, but if you pull it over to the right, there's not much of a gap, and it's a real tough upshot to get one in.
Yeah, the green is not the most easily accessed. I mean, it's a good potential hole down the stretch of a tournament that you can pick up a birdie on. Pars are definitely in play, but, bogey's not out of the question.
No, good shot by Lewis there to get one up inside the circle. I threw it far enough that I just have this little pitch up, and that's fine. Whatever, just take your par and move on. Kenny crushed. I told you Kenny's got some sneaky distance.
Yeah, he does. He does throw it. I mean, you got to be able to win at this tournament. You do have to have some distance. Not all technicality and control is going to get the job done.
Oh, just get this putt in the basket. That's all I'm thinking at this point. Like, you just bogeyed last hole. You know you're going to be leading the tournament. I've played enough rounds out here to know that 13 is going to be the best round. Like, just don't bleed any more strokes out, and let's get back in the clubhouse and do it again tomorrow.
Yeah, 13 down, 1058 rated. You can't complain there. That's what you needed to do and got it done to start the tournament. Chris Nelson, though, putting together a solid round as well. Cleans up the par for a 1032 rated round.
Yeah, one of Chris's best rounds out here for sure. He doesn't have he lives probably about 4 hours from this course. He doesn't have a ton of career rounds out here, but he's really good. So 9 down will definitely put him onto lead card for the next round. But we had some fun shots in that round.
Yeah, looking at the scoreboard, we got yourself at 13 under par, Chris at 9 under par, Brian Peterson 7 under par, and Zach Chris making his way over from the AM side, getting his taste in the pro field, another 7 under par.
Number 1, there's a bee's nest just left the hole 3's basket. It's right there. Basket, it's right there. We sprayed it twice yesterday. The Parkos got it again this morning, so hopefully it's a little more docile. But just be careful. And you can always take relief out of those bees' nests no closer